Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing one of the most successful and influential Patek Philippe references of all time. This is the annual calendar flyback chronograph 5960P-001, a 40.5 millimeter mono counter chronograph that launched back in 2006, giving birth to Patek Philippe's first ever manufacture automatic chronograph caliber, and quite a bit more. There have been dozens of variants of this watch, but only this one can claim to be the first. So 40.5 millimeters in diameter in platinum, you know it is a modern platinum Patek Philippe because of the top Vesselton diamond set between the lugs at 6. In terms of thickness, 13.8 millimeters and 49.3 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a broad and modern 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist. The watch is full-sized without being oversized. The strap is a little bit stiff because it's new, so it's pulling my wrist in more than normally it would. But you can wear this watch easily on a wrist down to 14 centimeters circumference, and part of that is due to the curvature of the lugs, which you can see really well from this angle. And although it's not a thin watch overall, it does have a dramatically sloped case flank with a concave bezel all the way around to visually thin it out, but also allow it to fit underneath the dress cuff quite well. In platinum, it's hefty, and you feel it. This watch includes a brand new Patek Philippe alligator leather strap, large rectangular scale alligator leather, matte finish. We've got a sheer cut edge with a monotone stitch. You can see that the watch includes a matching Patek Philippe Calatrava cross, single fold deployant clasp to guard against accidentally dropping your watch while you're donning it or removing it. We have pusher adjusters in the flank to adjust the aperture style annual calendar. This being an annual calendar, a Patek Philippe original invention from 1996, you only need to adjust it once a year annually during the jump from February to March. The case is fluid and sexy with long arcing and beautifully tapered lug profiles. We have vintage-inspired pump-style pushers, the Calatrava cross on the push-down crown, and the watch is 30 meters water-resistant with a screw-in case back. Taking a quick look at the dial here, we have a gray or ardoise sunburst metallic. We have white gold dart-style faceted indices and leaf-style hands for the hours and minutes with a matted out counterweighted lancet-style chronograph seconds hand. The watch, though a dress watch, make no mistake, is a sporty dress watch with the chronograph, the white metal, and a surprising amount of luminescence, again, for a dress watch. So you have that annual calendar. Patek invented this and patented it back in 1996. The idea being that you only need to adjust it once per year. It's somewhere between a simple complete calendar, which needs to be adjusted 5 times a year, and a perpetual, which generally doesn't need to be touched. Now, in addition here, we have a mono counter down at 6 o'clock, which means we have coaxial chronograph hours and minutes, and they are delineated by red and blue color coding. You can see the same on the bullseye, or mono counter as it's known. You can see inside it, there's actually a little blue aperture right there, and what that is it is your AM PM. So you know, for example, whether this is 1 a.m. or 1 p.m., and you can see because it's blue, that means it's at night. It's not just there for cave explorers who may not see the light. It's really there so you know when not to use these pusher adjusters to adjust the calendar. If that little aperture is blue, just hold off until it is white. Now it's daytime. Now, for example, you're looking at 9 a.m. Now, the other thing that's nice about this watch is it does have power reserve indicator hiding there up at 12 o'clock. Automatic winding, we've got a maximum 55 hours of power reserve here, and the chronograph is a flyback, which means you can reset and restart just like that. You don't need to stop, reset, and restart. With the flyback, you can time events that occur in really rapid succession, and this allows you to do that. Of course, we have the date month. It is an American-style calendar layout. Flip it all over. This, along with the Nautilus chronograph, the 5980, was the launch platform for a movement that would become one of Patek's most prolific. This is the 28520. It's got a lot going for it. It's a unidirectional winder with ceramic bearings, again, 55-hour power reserve. It's free-sprung with a Patek Philippe Gyromax balance adjusted in 5 positions. It has a vertical clutch and a column wheel. The column wheel making for a really crisp, tactily satisfying chronograph operation. The vertical clutch making for a seamless chronograph engagement. There's no jump or stagger because a vertical clutch doesn't have meshing gears. Now, one thing that's worth mentioning here is when the watch is not running, or the chronograph is not running, I should say, this has a reputation for being a dead dial, and a lot of folks complained about that when this came out. Well, here's the good news. With the vertical clutch, you can just leave it running full time. There's no additional wear and tear, so if you like to have your minutes, your hours, and your seconds at center, ignore the bullseye, ignore the mono counter, just leave chrono seconds going. And even better, if you set the watch and synchronize instantly to the second when the minute is turning over, you can use the flyback as a zero reset to synchronize your seconds to the second, and then you've got your seconds, your minutes, and your hours, assuming you're using them that way, all synchronized. Even though the watch does not have hacking, you have that zero reset capability that effectively becomes like a hacking system. Of course, the movement includes two elements that would later be phased out. And a lot of folks don't realize that the earliest version of this caliber actually came with a metallic handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring, which at Patek is considered to be a more premium feature than a silicone hairspring. Later on, silicone would come in and replace the metallic, but on the highest end Patek watches, you get a handmade overcoil. And these early examples of the 5960 had that, as this one does. So it's a real feather in its cap compared to the more industrial later examples that got silicone. We also have a Geneva hallmark on the movement. So between 2006 and about mid-2009, it would have had the Poisson de Genève. After that, it would have been the Patek Philippe seal. There's no change in quality, but a lot of folks prefer the more romantic old Geneva hallmark. And of course, you could see the bright bevels, the black polished screws with chamfered slots in circumference. There's engine turning below the balance, yes, but also on the center of the rotor. We have circular Côte de Genève across the rotor and also across the bridges. You could see we have satination on the wheels as well as the column wheel, as well as some of the underlying bridges and springs. It is quite beautiful. And then we have some locating pins that are used to help locate bridges on the base plate, and those pins have been polished on their top, so it's all very thoughtfully considered and hugely attractive. And again, to have the Geneva hallmark and the overcoil hairspring on the earliest version of the 5960, that is the one to own. That will be the most collectible. So reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.